Hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca Brothers, and I'll be your instructor for English 101 this semester. I wanted to give you a short presentation to introduce myself. I am originally from Lexington, Kentucky, and I've lived in North Carolina, London, England. I've lived in France for a little while. I've lived in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm back home in Kentucky. I have my Bachelor of Arts in English Literature from Centre College. I got a Master of Arts in Teaching from Duke University, and I started teaching in the fall of 2001. I've been doing this for a little while. I have taught high school at all levels, Governor Scholars Program. I have also been a research program coordinator in the education department at Vanderbilt University. And I started my community college teaching career at Nashville State Community College in Nashville, Tennessee in 2005. I've been a community college instructor here for JCTC since spring of 2013. I love my subject, of course, as most teachers do. I majored in English because I loved to read, I love to write, and I love to talk about stories. I started off as a child, a kid who loved to be read to, and then I became someone who loved to read on my own, and now I love to teach others to love stories as well. I love my students too. Community college for me is just that. It's a community. We serve students from all walks of life. I've been privileged to teach students fresh from the most rigorous high school programs, soldiers returning from tours of duty in war zones, mothers ready to come back to school after having their children, and lots of people ready to change the course of their lives. This is a wonderfully unique, diverse place to work and learn, and I could not love my job more. I also take my responsibility as your teacher to heart. It is my job to make sure you're ready for all the reading and writing and speaking you'll do for college and beyond. I won't go easy on you because I know you'll always be judged very harshly on your ability to articulate your thoughts. The world is not kind to those who can't say what they mean and say it well. But I also want you to know that I'm here to support you every step of the way. That means I'm ready to answer questions on email 7 days a week. I try to respond to you as quickly as I can. I read your writing very carefully and try to help you make it the best that it can be. I help you find ways to get tutoring. I help you find ways to get help with your drafts and support. And I want to be the person you can come to when you need help navigating not just English 101, but college life as well. Your most important task in English 101 is to think. We'll talk a lot about what it means to think critically about what you hear, read, and say. I also know that English 101 is the most dreaded college course. In high school, it's Algebra 1. In college, it's English 101. People say that they dread being having to submit their writing to a harsh college professor who tears them down and makes them feel stupid for all of their mistakes. Please know that when I correct you, when I give you feedback, it is never to belittle you. I'm always trying to make you better so that no one else will be able to belittle you in the future for your reading and your writing skills. I also try to remember that English was easy for me. I loved it. And I know for some of you, this is the hardest subject. This is something you're just trying to get through. I hope I can convince you during this course that what we do here is important. It enriches your life, and it will make the rest of your life easier because people will listen to what you have to say when you say it well. I truly do believe to write well, you must be well read. That doesn't mean you have to come to English 101 having read all the works of Shakespeare, the Bible, the Quran, and all the most difficult texts. We expect you to be new to college reading and writing. But the end goal for us is going to be writing a research paper that shows you know how to read critically and write clearly. We'll be talking a lot in this class about what those things mean, to read critically and to write clearly. To get there, we're going to do lots of reading for homework, You have a couple of books that are required. I'll go over those in the syllabus here in just a moment. But you're going to have homework. You're going to be reading letters. You're going to be reading short stories, poems, lots of different kinds of writing. And those are going to become the basis for our online discussions and shorter writing assignments. We all need to read the same thing so we all know what to comment on. I'm going to give you feedback on those shorter assignments to help you identify your writing strengths and weaknesses. That's going to happen for anything that you submit to me that is more than a paragraph long. I'll write you a short message on your grade to let you know what you need to work on. I expect you to read those comments, and we can talk about ways for you to get better in your areas of weakness. As the semester progresses, hopefully those weaknesses start to be addressed, you get better and better, and by the time we get to the research paper, you can show me that you've become a better writer. That's probably the way you've always done English class, but I do things a little differently for our English 101. I always have a theme. For this semester, we're going to be talking about the theme, how American students should learn about war. And there's the question, how should American students learn about war? You're going to answer that question all semester as you learn more about the way we do teach war in the classroom. You're going to answer that question completely as best you can in your research paper at the end of the semester. I chose this as the theme for our class for a number of reasons. First of all, this September 2nd marks the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II. But that wasn't the last time our country has been to war. War has been a constant part of many of your lives. The U.S. has been involved in violent conflict somewhere in the world since many of you were born. We often have veterans in our classes, and you yourself might be thinking about joining up or know someone who will. And even if you never fight in combat, you will vote for people who make the decisions about where we aim our guns all over the world. Knowing about the terrible cost of war is the responsibility of us all. For me, this is a personal question. My own experience in history class was far from good. I never studied the wars of the 20th century in school. We only made it to the Civil War, except for a short Holocaust unit. But my father and both grandfathers fought in combat. My nephew joins the Navy this fall. I have always been the daughter of a combat veteran, and now that I am middle-aged, I'm learning just how my dad's experiences in the war and his father's have shaped me and my world. It shapes yours. This question is also a nice transition between the high school experience you're leaving behind and your college studies. It asks you to reflect on your own education and what you feel was done well and what you might have missed. I really hope that you'll start to see learning continues your whole life. Just because you didn't study it in history class, that doesn't mean you can't keep learning. We're going to be reading a variety of texts. We're going to read fiction, nonfiction, poetry, song lyrics. We'll watch several films in this class, which you'll do, of course, online on your own time. There are movies that I don't think most of you would have seen before, films that help to personalize what it means to be a soldier and a civilian in the line of fire. We're going to do all of this as we learn to become better writers. So sometimes you might think, wait, are we in history class or English class? We're in English class, and we're using history of war as our common topic so that we can all speak in informed ways to the same topic. I'm really excited to get started with our online format. I try to keep things really simple online. You'll always have something to read, something to watch, and something to write every week. We'll do a short tour of the Blackboard course shell for my class here in just a minute. But if you see here on this slide, I have highlighted here the tools to help you learn online. This link right here should work for you straight from this PowerPoint presentation. If you're really lost about Blackboard, it gives all the basic questions, things like, how do I log on? What if I have forgotten my username and password? Where can I find the tools my teacher is talking about using online? I need help with IT support, internet connectivity. What browser do I use? A lot of those questions can be answered here. We're going to read, watch, and write a lot during this semester, but please remember that everything we read and watch is fuel for what we write. I'm so excited to get started. Our next step is that tour of Blackboard I promised. Every teacher does it a little differently, and I want to show you my setup.